What's up? Alright, I'm going to talk to you briefly about this stuff, and I'm just going to give you a general idea so that you can understand exactly what the fuck people are dealing with, okay? These mind control elements and voice to skull and stuff like that, right? Well, first of all, if you don't believe it exists, you should check out the recent attacks on the embassies, because they go into detail about some of the technologies that's used, okay? It's the same type of stuff. Understand a little bit about hypnosis, and audio are just about the same fucking thing. Flashing lights, that these people are getting raped and fucking saying they're getting abducted by aliens and all this stuff, or some type of fucked up breeding program. Just think about it. So anyway, so if you don't think this type of shit exists, well, I mean, it's obvious it does, okay? So, I mean, just go back to the embassy stuff. Now, a little bit about the history about this, okay? Alright, here's how things kind of work, right? You got a bunch of fucking crazy ass shit going on, so it's kind of hard to pick out where to start. But, like the Heaven's Gate cult, do you really think all those people just jumped on a motherfucking comet without any type of confirmation or anything like that? You gotta be out your motherfucking mind, okay? Alright, that's human experimentation, okay? And that cost those people their lives. You see, if you can override somebody's self-preservation, that is the key to unlocking mind control. So, you kind of get it right there. You know what I mean? So, going further into this, how has it been used? Well, you got the face biter. That's a frequency that stimulates the reptilian mind, so to speak, your animalistic side. You put people in trance in like a dreamlike state. That's what a trance is, and they're easier to control. So let's go over overview and see how some of this shit was used, right? Actually, fuck it. Let's see how it's used every day, day to day. Now, if you understand a little bit about psychology, you understand how the male ego works. Controlling the ego and having somebody take on false beliefs or idea in order to control the individual. Just about every rap song you ever hear goes into, I fucked your bitch and I got all this shit and I'm better than you. And believe it or not, there's a reason for that. And it's the same message over and over again, constantly. And it was financed and made this way on purpose by Hollywood. You can look into it. And you're sitting there listening to this motherfucking music. You might actually listen to the lyrics the first couple times you hear the song. But after that, you're just dancing, having a good time, or playing it and partying, or driving around in your motherfucking car where you're paying attention to traffic. But anyway, the whole idea is that you're not focused on what this shit is saying, and it just keeps playing while you're not even listening to it. And it's pretty much the same message on repeat. So, you figure that out. What else do you know that uses that very same technique? So music is a very powerful thing. Now you got all these kids that end up in this revolving door system, because they're basically programmed and brainwashed by this shit. And they always claim that they got to the top by selling dope and shit like that. These people are fucking actors. That means somebody paid them to promote this story. And that's not originally how all this stuff started. You should look into who financed gangster rap, and you'll get the idea. And then you got shit like what they're doing to some people. Hold on, I got to relight my cigarette. You got like Gnarls Barkley, right? And he was a mold breaker. And apparently it wasn't liked because it was getting back to what was around before. And, you know, if you've invested this much time and money and effort into doing this shit, uh, that's not going to be something you're going to like. And then, of course, there's O.J. Simpson. And he was definitely promoting something that they didn't like. And once you get deeper into this stuff and understand what the fuck it is, you'll see it. I mean, it's used all the time. But besides the motherfucking point, you know, like Bill Cosby, for example, he was very strong, and he understands the effect of this, and he wanted to make sure that, you know, this type of shit didn't put an image that people would live up to in people's lives. And him and a few other people were very active in this. And if you look into it, man, his own worst enemy on trial was himself. I mean, but that ought to speak just for the honesty of the guy. But he was all about, you know, making sure that the image wasn't corrupted. You know what I'm saying? What people thought about themselves and shit like that. Because, you know, he understood it. And they couldn't even get him while he was younger. They had to wait until he was an old man before they could put him under. But, you know, and O.J. Simpson, I mean, do some math on that. That's not hard to fucking figure out. And it's crazy as shit, you know? But anyway, besides this motherfucking point, there's a lot of misinformation out there about all this shit. They try so fucking hard to get people to go off cliffs and fucking, you know, look as much as they can like a tinfoil hat wear is the main thing. Why don't you look in the media and all that shit and fucking look at all the references to tinfoil hats and shit like that, you know? People are already preconditioned to if they hear anything about this. So that's the category it goes into. And there's a lot of stupid shit out there, you know? But anyway, if you look into the history of mental homes and the research that they're doing, you know, that research was funded and it obviously gained results because they continued funding it, continued using the programs, and it's still alive and active today. So don't be surprised. And this gangstalking shit, it's nothing new. It's just never been this widespread before. Some people, like myself, have experienced this shit their whole entire lives. You know, but everybody tries to tell you you're crazy or you're schizophrenic and shit. Well, let me tell you something. Schizophrenia doesn't start until you're 25 to you're 30, and it's only 1% of the population. So there's no fucking way that somebody who's experienced this since their childhood, you know, and that lives in a house with another person who experiences this shit is ever going to be schizophrenic. That's statistically impossible with all those elements. It totally crosses it out when it comes to a scientific process. But, you know, if you keep this shit hidden and you precondition people, you know, this shit can go on for a long fucking time. But it's obvious that this shit exists. I mean, just look up some of it and you'll see exactly how it works. But, my God, man, it's ugly. And you gotta understand that some of these things that are being done for a purpose. You know what I mean? They have a lot more control over people than you could ever believe possible. It's trance-like dream states that they use on these people. And I can't get into too much detail because there's a reason for it. Because if I did, a lot of people could say, you know, they did all this because of that. But there's some dead giveaways to it. Like, there's always certain fucking elements that are always in place when they use this stuff. But if I got into that, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to give anybody anything to cover their ass. So it's kind of important how you handle this shit. But anyway, so you got all this shit going on, and there are really people out there who want to keep this hidden. And a lot of these people that claim that they're being gang-stalked and shit like that, they're only trying to promote bad behavior. They want you to make a nuisance out of yourself, to start going crazy, to confronting people so they can put your ass away. I mean, the whole entire purpose of this shit is to control you. and your reactions. So if you're sitting there watching this guy on YouTube and he's motherfucking going up and fucking with these people that he's calling gang stalkers, you know what I mean? They're just trying to make him look crazy. That's it. So don't fall into the pitfalls. It's a group influence, you know, monkey see, monkey do type shit. So you know, and if you notice, man, where the hell do you hear most high so much? Only here. Only on videos about stuff like this. So know where the information's coming from and where they're trying to direct you. And understand that they kill people with this shit all the time. Literally. I mean, death. You know? I mean, just the other day they told me to put a gun in my mouth and pull the fucking trigger. That shit ain't gonna happen, motherfucker. I ain't catching no comet out of here. But there's so much I want to say about all this, but that's just a general overview. A basic idea. A concept so you can get started and know exactly what the hell's going on.